So, you thought you knew everything about Disneyland Paris. Well, that was until you clicked on today's video. Whether it's after park hours or in broad daylight, Disneyland Paris is constantly doing things to improve your experience and keep everyone safe, and to of course make a little bit more money while they're at it. In this video, we're going to uncover some of the sneaky things that Disneyland Paris do that they try to keep under wraps. So let's pull back that curtain and take a sneaky peek. With the Frozen Land due to open in 2025, we have seen a lot of progress and construction happening over in the Walt Disney Studios park. In fact, we have seen the top of the ice castle being installed. But why does it seem to be taking so long to open this new area? Well, the parts that you can see are actually just the tip of the iceberg. Not only does planning and preparation need to be in place, this is a whole new land for Disneyland Paris. So it's been built completely from scratch. Then, any new rides will need vigorous testing before they allow any humans to actually ride any rides. And then, all of the cast members need to be fully trained on those rides and the entire area. Not only do cast members need to learn the rides and new area enough to fully explain to guests, this also gives cast members the chance to go through evacuation and emergency procedures. And if necessary, Disney can change up those procedures and retrain to make the overall experience better and smoother. Then you have to take into account that there may be a soft opening to the new area for select groups who are invited to the area, and this also gives the cast members a chance to try out their training on a much smaller group before opening to the mass crowds. Even though this new land is going to be totally amazing and a great addition to Disneyland Paris, I still highly recommend waiting a few weeks or even a couple of months before heading over to this new land. Kinks and delays will be prominent in the new area with new rides, but once the cast members adjust and the demand drops after those initial opening weeks, then there's a better chance of a greater experience of the land and rides as you planned to visit after the initial hype and stress starts to die down. Now, you know it's never too early to start celebrating the seasons at Disneyland Paris. If you're ever visiting the parks on the run up to Halloween or Christmas, you might feel disorientated walking into the parks one morning and finding it totally transformed since your visit the day before. This seems more noticeable when the switch between Halloween and Christmas happens. It's definitely not magic, but you do have a team of fast-working cast members to thank for the metamorphosis. Disneyland Paris decorations are put up overnight to ensure their installation doesn't interfere with guest safety or disrupt the magic. The decorations, however, don't all go up on the same night, which means you might continue to spot new details as the season goes on, at least for the first few days. But even if more decorations do need to be put up, you will never see cast members hauling a Christmas tree down Main Street. That's bad show. They do, however, haul them around late at night when you're sleeping. Security at Disneyland Paris is #1 priority, and that includes making sure that everyone, and I mean everyone, exits the park when they close for the night. Please don't think about hiding out and skipping around the parks in the middle of the night. I have some bad news for you because you will definitely get busted. Once the parks have closed for the day, cast members perform walkthroughs to make sure that there are no guests left behind or sneaking around in the bushes. And cast members typically clear sections of the park each night, sweeping for any straggling guests. This is most noticeable with Fantasyland in the main park. This whole section of the park is cleared and closed up to 1 hour before the fireworks and drone show takes place. Each area can be closed slightly differently depending on the rides and attractions. Each ride will be closed off, ensuring that no more guests can enter the queue. Then any of those guests who are already in the queue are allowed to enjoy the ride, but cast members will ensure that when they exit the ride, they are then headed out towards the exits when they are done. Also, in certain areas, cast members will block off certain areas within each land that they have already cleared. As section by section is swept, cast members move towards the front of the parks, ensuring guests don't turn back unnecessarily. However, cast members will not rush you out, but instead will give you a friendly "see you real soon." So as tempting as it may be to never ever leave the magic of Disneyland Paris, You're going to have to. And while it may not look like it, there is intense security in the parks at all times, including surveillance cameras to make sure that everyone stays safe and that you do leave the parks. Another behind the scenes snippet of information. When Disneyland Paris is preparing to debut a new fireworks or drone show, the show has to be tested before it's performed in front of guests. Now, with quieter days at Disneyland Paris becoming few and far between these days, Disneyland Paris can only test these new shows once the parks have closed for the day. And that means really, really late at night. Only by chance, if you are staying up late enough to catch the testing, will you be able to get a glimpse of what they are doing. And while we're on the subject of fireworks, the recently reopened Disneyland Paris Hotel has the best views of the fireworks, and guests staying here would stand a better chance of seeing these test run-throughs if you're on the right side of the hotel. As much as it might seem like it, nope, Disneyland Paris cast members are not born with all of the songs and dance choreography memorised, even though sometimes it may seem that way. Turns out, cast members get tons of rehearsal time before they debut in front of guests. Show rehearsals are scheduled very similarly to when the fireworks testing happens, when the parks are closed. This allows cast members to do full run-throughs on the stages in the central hub in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle, or parade run-throughs before debuting in front of guests. Disneyland Paris parade performers have the same opportunities to practice without an audience before they make their official debut. It's just down the streets instead. This also goes for the testing of any new floats and effects, such as the ones that they used for the 30th anniversary parade, and most recently with the new daytime show, A Million Splashes of Colour. And before cast members even rehearse in the parks themselves, they have to do an immense amount of training in off-site studios. And if a cast member is to become very good friends with a Disney character, it gives them the chance to fully learn all the characteristics and even getting those articulated head movements down. Now, Disneyland Paris can't pull the wool over your eyes, especially when it comes to large-scale changes, even though they try their best to do so. Especially when it comes to the major changes to the Walt Disney Studios park. You may have noticed, or if you are due to arrive soon, they have a lot of construction walls up around the park. There's no getting around them, and Disneyland Paris are doing their very best to make sure that it doesn't interfere with your trip too much. But sometimes Disney can't hide away all of the work they need to do, but will try their best, and construction walls will go up. You knew this one was coming, right? Budgeting for your Disneyland Paris trip is hard enough, especially with Disney ever so slightly bumping up those prices whenever you least expect it. If a price increase does happen after you've already booked your trip, don't panic. Disney will still honour the price you've already paid. Price increases aren't just limited to park tickets and hotels. It does also include the merch from Mickey ears, Spirit jerseys, collectible pins. Price increases on merch often happen quickly and without warning. So if you're visiting soon, be prepared to travel with a flexible souvenir budget, or check out the Disney store online before you go to see if there are any online offers available. The next price increase is food. I love the food at Disneyland Paris, but it is getting more and more expensive. My advice is to keep an eye on the Disneyland Paris app at the menus for each restaurant before you go, or make any of those advanced restaurant reservations. But this also includes price increases to popcorn, pretzels, bottles of water, and unfortunately, those Mickey-shaped ice creams. Now, to prepare for this, don't forget that you are allowed to take your own food into the parks. This is a great way to save a little money. Now, with any outdoor attraction, the paint on outside and inside of the attractions, fences, walls, walkways will need to be touched up or even completely redone. Sometimes you will see those go-away green walls put up to allow cast members to paint in broad daylight, but majority of this work is done after park hours, as to not ruin the magic. Disneyland Paris want you to have the best time ever whilst you're there, so sometimes they may have to be a little sneaky, as to not spoil any of the magic for you. If you did find this video useful, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.